What is going on, guys? Proteus 458 here, and welcome back to my channel, and welcome to some more World of Warships, where today we're going to be taking a look at a battle that I had in the Tier 9 American battleship, the USS Iowa. Now, straight off the bat, this is not the most fantastic game ever, but truth be told, I haven't played a whole lot of World of Warships this week since getting access to a press account for Armored Warfare. I've mostly been playing that, trying to figure out that sort of stuff. But while this game is not like the most awesome thing you've ever seen in terms of damage and that, it's still a pretty decent game, I thought. So I decided to show it anyway. This was also the match, if you recall, in my latest Colorado video, I mentioned a battle that I had in Iowa where the Colorado's armor just trolled me. This is that battle. So a little bit later on in this video, we will get to see exactly what I am talking about. So first target has been spotted as a Nagato at 22 kilometers. We're going to fire off the front two guns. We had considered going to port and heading to the left side of the map and going that way, but kind of decided to head towards B and towards the middle. So gave a little bit too much lead and a little bit too much elevation there, so the shots did not manage to find their targets. Miyoko as well, 19 kilometers, 6 seconds or so until the reload on the front two turrets is completed. Those shots are going in, but unfortunately they don't manage to hit either. So I'm going to fire off the front guns at the cruiser and see if maybe we'll get a little bit lucky. This was also from a few weeks ago, so I was this was during the learning period when I was trying to get back into the game. A whole bunch of work which has now undoubtedly been undone by all my Armored Warfare. But learning is part of the fun, I suppose, so we'll just learn it all over again. But anyways, you can see there is an enemy Tirpitz, Pensacola, two Pensacola's, and there's a Kiev there on very low health, and we've just managed to take him out. One of our destroyers managed to get that kill. So we're going to fire off a full broadside at the enemy Pensacola, who was at 18 kilometers. Not the greatest angle, but we didn't really have too much more else to shoot at, and once again our salvo misses. So, not the greatest start. How long has this battle been going? A few minutes and we haven't even scored a hit yet. But now we got this Tirpitz at 14 kilometers. And he's giving us a nice broadside. Come on, we have to be able to hit this guy. Guns are nearly reloaded. Firing off another full salvo. And let's watch the shells go in. And of course, the sneaky German throws the ship into reverse. And our salvo pretty much misses. But we do manage 4 hits for a little bit of damage, not the most, but first hits of the match, hooray. So he's now speeding back up, so he's going to be behind the island by the time we are ready to fire. But we got this Nagato at 18, but then I spy this Pensacola at 13.2. As I said before, Pensacolas are made out of citadels with very little armor, so hopefully any kind of hits will be able to give us a citadel. Looking good, but no, 4 hits, 5,000 odd damage. So that's 5,400. But there we go. Someone got a citadel on him. It wasn't us, but someone definitely got a nice shot into him. Nearly reloaded, just waiting a few more seconds. He's now firing at us, but we decide to not shoot back at him because I was worried that the game would troll me and plant my shells into the island, as it loves to do so very often. Nagato is now at 15.3. Going to take the lead, and we're going to stagger the shots a little bit. Got a Mahan just over 10 kilometers away, so something we've got to be a little bit careful about. Shots going in, they're looking pretty good, but only 4 hits for 7,100 damage. And now here we have another Pensacola who has gotten himself to within 9 kilometers of a battleship 2 tiers above him. And I was spotted, he knew I was here, but he just gave absolutely zero fucks. And now we're going to fire off the front two guns. Shots going in. And a double citadel, devastating strike, and we get the kill. We have taken some return fire, presumably from that Nagato. And here we have the Colorado that I was referring to. SA Fighter. Hopefully he's not South African. And as you can see, he's traveling at that could be full speed because the Colorado is so slow, but he's traveling broadside onto him, a battleship 2 tiers above him. and he is not going to change his course or his speed. Pensacola, going to fire off the frontier guns at him and see if we can wipe out another cruiser, because obviously fires are always irritating, and not enough lead on that salvo, and unfortunately no hits there. And you can see someone on our team, Tommy Carr, achieved detonation. He was hit by a single torpedo, and yeah, it detonated his magazine and he was finished. So we're just trying to back up here because there's a lot of enemy ships and not a whole lot of support. So we're in reverse, something that I kind of hate to do in a battleship, but sometimes it is necessary. So shots going in on the Colorado. How are these looking? 1 Citadel and 13,500 damage. Only hit we managed to land out of that salvo. Pensacola's shooting at us. Just keep an eye out on those torpedo planes in case they decide to have a run at a reversing Iowa. We have gone all ahead full, but we're still slowly moving backwards. I mean, you can see this guy. He just happily sailing in a straight line, same speed. Doesn't care. So we're now moving. We're trying to turn a little bit to get our rear gun on target, and not very good dispersion on that salvo. But just under 10,000 damage all in all, with 3 hits in total. Take some light damage from him. Rear gun shells going in, and 1 hit for 3,300. Tirpitz is opening fire. Take minimal damage. So we're just turning our bow back towards the Colorado to angle our armor, since it's going to be a few more seconds until the rear gun is ready, and no point in sitting with a slightly exposed broadside. Shots going in, and some more crappy dispersion. 3 hits for just over 2,000 damage. Very unfortunate. We have managed to knock him down to 2,100 hit points. Rear gun shells on the way. And I mean, you can just see this guy should have been dead ages ago. He really should have. 2 hits for 6,600. I mean, that was like kind of... That could have been a Citadel, couldn't it? Tirpitz at 11 kilometers, so I think I'm probably going to consider slowing down soon. Miyoko as well. Out of those shells, only 1 manages to hit. I mean, yeah, sometimes RNG takes some heavy damage apparently, but it wasn't too bad. But now I've also noticed that there is a destroyer in the A cap zone, and I can't stick around here because he could, should I say, launch some torpedoes. I didn't actually see what kind of destroyer it was, and I don't even think I really checked that in the game. I just saw destroyer and I was like, okay, let's get the hell out of here. So now Megami is opening fire. Here comes some more shots from the Colorado, and not a Citadel, but he does, I think it was about 6,000 damage and knocks out our engine, so we have to use our damage control team and fix that up so we can keep our speed, because we don't want to sit here in this position with no engine. Tirpitz shells are coming in, but we should have a decent angle on them by the time they arrive, and indeed we do. Take a few hits, but none of them manage to penetrate. Our shots are going in on the Tirpitz, only 1 hit for 1,300 damage, and that was hitting the superstructure. So we've used a repair kit. I think we've used 2 at this point, and we're down to 36,352 hit points. Turning our guns again to once again take a stab at the Colorado, and again, I mean, that's pretty much the same course he has been on the entire time. And here you can just see taking a little bit more time than I normally would with the shot, because I was so unfamiliar with how to do it now. These shots going in and they're looking pretty good. 4 hits for 10,000 damage, and leave him on a very, very small amount of health. Less than 2,000 hit points remaining. This Megami at 15 could very well be our next target. But cruisers in particular was something I was struggling a lot with when it came to hitting at this point, because so much lead is required, especially for those Japanese cruisers. And I mean, we gave him a fair amount, but again, just not quite enough. And the shells go a little bit high as well. A little bit unfortunate. But now we are going to turn back. We've got some assistance here, so we're going to turn back with our Miyoko and our 2 destroyers. Just focusing up the torpedo bombers in case they're going to come in for me. Looks like the carrier is actually focusing on the cruiser, which is a bit of an interesting decision. We're just going to fire the front two guns at the Colorado, and Miyoko is going to manage to slip through those torpedoes, but he has to turn to try and avoid the other ones. Quite nicely played by the enemy carrier, and yeah, he just had nowhere to go and was removed from the battle. Tirpitz 18 kilometers, but no shots. Megami firing at 18 kilometers as well. And of course he manages to land his hits, but thankfully not too much damage. Another Miyoko. Can we get our guns turned around in time to fire them? We're going to fire them as they are on target, and hopefully they manage to sneak over the mountain. But were we able to give enough lead? It does not look like it. Moving into B to help secure the capture point. We have done quite well as a team. Been set on fire now, so we're going to put that out immediately because we don't really have that many hit points, and we're burning our last repair party. But I mean, all the enemy team has got left is a carrier battleship and 2 cruisers, while we've got carrier battleship, 3 cruisers and 2 destroyers, as well as C, and we are about to finish the capture on B. So we will have a nice points advantage and continue to build the gap. Get the assist in base capture ribbon. Shots going in on the Megami. How are these doing? They're actually looking better, but still just not quite enough lead. Only managing 1 hit for 4,500 damage. Take 3,000 hits from, I think that was the Miyoko. And he's now coming nice and close. Tirpitz. We're going to have to start turning to port so as not to keep our broadside exposed to the German battleship. Taking the lead on the Megami once again, firing off the front 2 guns. And once again, just the theme of this battle is not quite enough lead when firing on cruisers. Going to have to keep turning and try and angle our armor a bit more against this Tirpitz. Getting the rudder turned over. Are we turning back to face him? I'm not entirely sure. Yeah, it looks like it. Thankfully he misses his shots, because that could have been quite painful, but he does some light damage. But now we're gonna, I think we're pretty much gonna start moving towards the A capture point. Manage some hits on the Tirpitz and do some damage, but nothing serious. And more shots coming in from the Miyoko. These cruisers were absolutely determined. Got some torpedo planes and dive bombers and all that on our port side. And I was getting quite lucky here with the Tirpitz. I should not have been sitting broadside on, but he has moved away from us now. You know, he's not closing the distance, he's not charging at us, which is when an Iowa really needs to worry about a Tirpitz. Above sort of 10, 12 kilometers, he's not likely to citadel me. Below 10, definitely you really have to worry about them, plus obviously the torpedoes. So firing the rear turret at the Miyoko, who's very far away, but we take a stab at it anyway. Now we got this Megami at 13. Bounce some shots from the Tirpitz, sounded like. Going to stagger the front 2 turrets as we fire them off. How are the shells looking? First salvo misses, second salvo we land 1 hit for no damage. So we're moving in with our Miyoko Chaos 871. We're going to try and finish off these 2 enemy cruisers. There's the Hiryu as well. So if we had gone the other way around the island, we could have really ruined their carrier's day. We're going to have to leave it to one of our cruisers. Shots going in on the Megami, kind of blind shot over the mountain. Couldn't really see where he was going, but we did at least manage to clear it. And no hits on that, unfortunately. Miyoko is now turning to kind of give us a nice broadside. 13 kilometers away, so we could get a decent hit on him here. Did we lead correctly though? It looks like we did. Citadel and 10,100 damage, and we finish him off for our 3rd kill of the match. But that is unfortunately going to be it. There's the 1,000 points, and the battle is over. So, as you can see, 275,000 credits, 5,200 reputation. We got devastating strike, 36 target hits, 1 plane shot down, 3 kills, 4 citadels, and assisted in base capture once. Coming 2nd place on the team by 9 points behind Toasted Cap something in the Miyoko. Mahan on the enemy team did really well, 1572 base XP on a defeat, and then the Hiryu in second place with 1055. But you can see it was quite close. With the top 4,000 points between the top 4, not bad at all. And third place was not that far behind me. Detailed report, only 106,600 damage, so not terribly great. But still fairly interesting gameplay, I think, especially with the trollish Colorado. And I mean, 4 citadels, 3 kills is never a bad thing. But that's it for this video. If you enjoyed, please feel free to hit the thumbs up button down below and consider subscribing for more World of Warships, Armored Warfare, and a few other things that are thrown into the mix from time to time. That's it from me. Thank you very much for stopping by. This is Predator 458 signing off, and I will see you guys next time.